Here's a quick video about problem number 4 on section 1.6 homework. As I was saying in class, the main thing here is to figure out what to do with this weird f inverse of -4 notation. And so my recommendation here is to write this as an actual statement. So f inverse of -4, let's say, equals the letter A. So we'll just use the letter A as the output of that. And so that'll be our goal, is to figure out what A is. The reason for writing it like that is that way we see an input-output pair for this new function f of -1, f inverse. The f inverse function has an input of -4 and an output of A. So the reason that matters is because the definition of inverse tells us that that's equivalent to saying that f will take an input of A and give an output of -4. In other words, the inputs and outputs get swapped in a statement about f of A, in a statement about f, than they would be in a statement about f inverse. So any statement we have, an equation like this involving f inverse, we can turn into a statement involving f. So the reason that matters is that this statement involving f can be solved algebraically. The question is, I have f of A equals -4, and remember, my entire goal is to figure out what A is. So that means I'm trying to find the input A that gives me an output of -4 in this function. And that's a question that we have dealt with before. So let me just rewrite this. So f of A, changing the x to an A, will give me A plus 4 over A plus 8. Now you might wonder why I'm using the letter A instead of the letter X. It's because I have a bias in my head about X being inputs and Y being outputs. And the nature of inverses is that it's switching the role of input and output. So what you'll see me do often is when I need a letter for something, I'll use something other than X or Y just so that I am not don't have a bias towards whether my letter means input or my letter means output. So you might see me use T or B or A, but when I introduce a letter, when I'm working with inverse functions, I'll usually introduce a letter other than X and Y, just so that I don't have that prejudice towards X being input, Y being output. Okay, so anyway, so the equation f of A equals -4 is the same as saying A plus 4 over A plus 8 equals -4, because that's what f of A means. To solve this equation, I don't know why I didn't give myself more room here, but okay, let me rewrite this. So A plus 4 over A plus 8 equals -4. Now one thing is, when we have a fraction, like we do here, there are implicit parentheses around the numerator and the denominator. In other words, all of that stuff that's A plus 4 is the numerator, all of it, and all of the stuff down there is the denominator. We don't normally write parentheses around the numerator and denominator of a fraction because we have this convention that the fraction bar tells us where the grouping begins and ends. So the fact the fraction bar goes across means we're grouping that together as the numerator and grouping that as the denominator. But I'm going to write them in explicitly because the step I need to do here is to clear my denominators. And so I'm going to do that by multiplying on both sides by the denominator that I see in this fraction. And if I have them grouped, then it's not so strange to see that those actually cancel. A plus 8 times something with the denominator of A plus 8 is going to cancel out. And so what I have left on the left side is A plus 4. So it's left after the canceling happens. On the right side, I have -4 times A plus 8. So I can distribute this. I'm just going to distribute that -4 through the parentheses, and I'll have minus 4A minus 32. So my equation now is just a regular old linear equation in the variable A. So I'm going to go through my normal steps, which would be to get my A's on one side. So I'll do that by first adding 4A to both sides. And when I do that, this is going to be a wash. And on the left side, I'll have 5A plus 4 equals negative 32 on the right side. Now I need to subtract 4 for both sides. And I'll write up here, I'll have 5a on the left side is minus 36 on the right side. And my last step would be to divide both sides by 5. And so I'll have a equals negative 36 over 5. So that's my value of a. Remember, that was the original question, right? The f inverse of negative 4 is equal to a, but a is equal to negative 36 fifths. So my final answer is minus 36 over 5.